Hello and welcome back. Today we're continuing our UK run. Really not sure how long we're going to continue this run because overall the run doesn't feel that challenging, but we're also kind of limit testing what we think is really strong in terms of starts and kind of seeing how far we can push it. So it's a little bit of a weird one. Last episode, we did fight Russia for the first time, starting to engage with a little bit more of the great game content. I think that we're probably going to complete the great game this episode, and of course win, because we do. And we released Ukraine. We also cranked up construction, although I was on something because I thought we had like tripled construction and we only moved from like 450 to 712, but still over 700 construction just barely over a decade into the game, especially with the overall economic slowdowns created by this patch. Does seem extraordinarily strong. Also, someone on the comment section of the first episode of this pointed out to me something I was not aware of, which is that when we upgrade our central principal group, it actually gives us more cohesion, and we want more cohesion. That way we can gobble up Portugal. So if you can see here, we're trending towards 51. We're just going to upgrade this to level 3 because that's going to be the one we have in, and now it's trending to 61, so it increases the equilibrium by another 10, which is going to be fantastic for us because we have to get over 61 in particular to be able to integrate Portugal. And then once we integrate Portugal in this way, they're already in our power block. We just want to use the subject interaction or the make subject interaction with them. Once we get that going, once we get the subjugate mechanic going, then we want to look and turn around and do the same thing to Ukraine. So we're working on Ukraine too, and so in this way we're kind of getting free subjugations, not just through yo-yo sways, but through pulling people into the block and then giving them the business, I suppose. So kind of seeing a phenomenon that is a little bit annoying is automatic downsizing by privately owned levels. And we actually don't mind it on the rye farms here, but we do kind of mind it that it's occurring with the steel, because we're trying to overbuild steel right now because we're currently researching steel frame buildings. And so we want to have more of these than necessary in order that we can be ready to swap over. So the fact that these are going to downsize is a little bit unfortunate. I mean, I guess we can subsidize them in order to just make sure that the buildings get produced, at least on a temporary basis, and don't downsize. But on the upside of things, we actually kind of do like the downsizing here that's occurring here because they're not fully employed, because we would rather have this just be open for more arable land in order to pull more pops to places like the Midlands, and then we put the agrarian stuff elsewhere. In particular, I think that in the capitals of our subjects is really a good idea. I know we invested in Delhi earlier. We built up a few of these opium plantations in Delhi, but I think really the capital is going to be where we want to put a lot of stuff, because the capital, even if it revs, will stay with the East India Company, and in this way we can guarantee that what we are building in foreign places are not going to be seized by revolutions, because this seems to be how the mechanic's working, and so we can put down rice farms, and while they're not as good as they used to be because grain across the board has been nerfed, this will further kind of create more grain over here, so that our buildings that are over here can downsize, giving us more unused arable land, which is going to give us more migration attraction. So you can see here we are getting migration attraction from unused arable land if that tooltip ever locks. We have unused arable land employment giving us 9.7 and available employment giving us 11.4, and so as these buildings downsize, we will get increased unused arable land employment, and so that'll also help out. Also, man, we have a lot of kind of modifiers coming in here. Greener grass campaigns we're putting in. We have 50%, 25% are coming from the trade center, and also 25% from greener grass, and then also from the Intelligentsia, and this great power bonus as well, giving us a total of 120. I'm not sure exactly how kind of nice we are with that, but part of this is off of us using the trade center stuff is off of us using external trade, because I don't think the trade center base anymore gives migration attraction. I think it's only the influential trade center. So if we take a look at this trade center, we can see that this is privately owned. The modifier is not there. The influential trade center here is the one giving us the migration attraction, as well as influence. As far as mass migration attraction, I think we're in pretty good shape, and it's kind of winner take all. And if you're beating the USA, then maybe we don't even need to use the mass migration one. The mass migration one will allow bigger mass migrations to occur, but we are beating out the USA, partially because they're getting wrecked, because we did in fact sneak another sneaky bankroll from them. So we are back on our 4 bankroll, business, which is just kind of nonsense. This is the most bankrolls we've ever had ever, and we're continuing to add military here and there to just try and ensure that our military is considerably larger, but the AI is not having they're not having a time, because their economies are kind of stagnant, relatively speaking, because I think they're kind of dumping it all into military, at least at the initial outset, and then, we don't see USA kind of having their crank up that we've seen in 17.1. GDP here, very stagnant, and so if their GDP stagnates out, they won't be able to add any more military, and if they can't add any more military, then we will continue to be able to dominate, as we've been doing so far. A huge driver of our ability to kind of play nice and wheel and deal and do all this sort of stuff is trade agreements, which are really, really valuable in general. You can see that if we have lobbies, they're actually a little bit cheaper, clout of pro-Prussian lobbies, but these are allowing us to maintain really strong relations with kind of minimal investment from our Diplo. Despite us getting an enormous amount of extra Diplo, we're currently investing all of it. We're kind of working Belgium too, hoping to get them in, and we see Heavenly Kingdom versus China. Now, I think that we actually have a truce with China, unfortunately, but I think this Heavenly Kingdom is strong enough to probably beat China on their own. They are considered the aggressors, so they're not strong enough. That's unfortunate, unless there's something wrong with China specifically. Let's hope we don't have a truce with Qing. I think that we do. Oh, we don't have a truce with Qing. We don't have a truce with Qing. This is so perfect, or we shouldn't. So we can support Heavenly Kingdom. We really want Heavenly Kingdom to win. The reason being is the Heavenly Kingdom, if we come and look at domestic, no migration controls. So if we ever accept Han Pops, this will allow mass migrations of Han Pops to occur, which is really, really, really valuable. We really do want them to win. And so we'll probably look to get some sort of interesting yo-yo sway or this type of thing off these guys. Liberate subject. Why can we liberate subject on Great Qing? This is a revolutionary war. Why does it allow that? Oh, but we can't yo-yo sway, so we can take a look at what we could go for. Not particularly close to being able to get this sort of stuff, it seems, but we can go for a diplomatic pact. We can open with a trade agreement. I'm guessing that they will probably want to... We'll have to take a look if there's any sort of war goal that we're interested in here. Maybe we would want Inner Mongolia, because it does have quite a bit of stuff there, and I don't think it's incorporated by Qing at the start, so it's really, really cheap, generally speaking, for getting, and the standard of living there is not too good, but it is unincorporated, and so it generally will be like 5 infamy, and if we take a look at some of the infamy cost reduction, let's see if they will even do, okay, they only allow Conquer Landfang, just kidding. We could have had it all. We wanted it all. If we take a look here, though, we could actually see what the cost is for this. And while we're not going to do that, because we really want to side with this rev, we can see that Inner Mongolia is only 7.5 infamy, despite having a maximum population modifier, because there's so much reduction modifiers. Unrecognized major powers reducing, unincorporated states reducing by 50%. We have technology, colonial affairs, our levels of colonial affairs, and so this will significantly get decreased once we eventually do get our grubby little hands on civilizing mission, which we're going to probably do after steel frame buildings. This way, we're probably going to do that after steel frame buildings, but this is going to be huge. We're going to side with the Heavenly Kingdom for something. I'm actually curious if we can have a little bit of a gamer moment. See, if we offer support, we can actually put in a war goal for ourselves on Qing and then offer support without the war going through on this. So, for example, if we go conquer state Mongolia, right, and then we just put this in, they will have a chance to refuse or accept, which means that the diplomatic play is not yet started. And what I'm curious about is, can we do that? And then can we go for an obligation here, allowing us to have a double war against Qing, which is our personal favorite, the double war. So we have a war here, and we are sided. So we're going to get an obligation, and then beyond that, we're just going to get kind of our own war against Great Qing, which I'm not exactly sure how this ends up getting resolved, considering we have a war goal for Inner Mongolia. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to put in war reparations. Oh, war reparations are useless because they're about to lose that war. But hopefully we get Inner Mongolia. I think we're going to put in a bunch of war goals with the hope that they just back down. And then we just get Inner Mongolia kind of for freeze-ish or for free-ish. And then at the same time actually do allow and help Heavenly Kingdom to win. It might be the case that once Heavenly Kingdom enforces on Great Qing, then we will get in the war goal for Inner Mongolia against them. I'm really not sure how any of this works. Inner Mongolia is just kind of a nice little one. There probably was a better war goal to take other than that, but that's the one we put in because we kind of wanted to highlight how cheap it is. Just 7 infamy for what is a really strong state. It has over 5 million pop, which is, or sorry, not 5 million, 2 million pop, except it's not actually over 2. Is it 1.5, the new cap? But anyways, it has an enormous amount of pop. It still only costs us 7 infamy, and it has, a very solid amount of iron mines, and it also cleans up the borders a little bit, makes things look a little bit nicer, which we kind of care about, but also kind of not really. Alright, poor Qing. I thought that they had gotten rid of this, but apparently they haven't, where you can get double Opium Wars. So the Taiping government, we just started exporting a bunch of stuff to them because all of our trade routes with Great Qing went away. And of course, we do have this treaty port on them. And they got the Opium Wars event. And we will, of course, say, they will eat their opium and they will like it because, obviously. And this will time out in 5 years, but what we'll do is, okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure that this bricks their military, right? They get lost they just instantly get lost the Opium Wars. They already lost. They lost. They got the Taiping Rebellion. They got the Taiping Rebellion. They got Taiping Conscription, too. And Taiping Land Socialization. Ooh, modifiers. But, do they just auto-lose the Opium Wars? Oh, okay, they just auto-lose it. Huh. Okay, well then they're going to have this absolutely absurd negative modifier, which makes it so that they're not going to win this war, except we're going to help them, so they are definitely going to win this war. I think we're going to send a few more troops then, with the understanding that they will be in kind of bad shape without our help. I think that these guys need to go to that HQ, and I think we're going to also raise the conscripts there. And so we should be in fine shape. This is really winnable for us. They both have the Opium War negative modifier. We win the Opium War twice, as one does when one is this, insanely good. 20% morale damage, rule the waves, or trade route competitiveness. We'll take a little trade route competitiveness. Still kind of expecting to see Great Qing back down, and they do, which is just kind of... they back down, but we're still going to have ourselves a war because we're still on this side of the play and it doesn't eliminate us from this play, but we do get the free Inner Mongolia. We're not going to be able to enforce any of the other stuff we put in, but we'll just enforce that when we declare on the Heavenly Kingdom later, which we can of course do. Although maybe we'll play nice with them. We have poor relations. We are improving relations. They might improve relations. We can get a trade agreement if we get into good relations zone. In fact, maybe we just absolve and then we could absolve the obligation and then get a trade agreement and then start ticking positive relations. I don't think it's going to be possible for us to do something with the Taiping Rebellion so that they can get into our block, because it's really, really hard to pull someone into your block. They have a ton of resistance based on population, and so I don't think that's going to be possible, but maybe if we fight them a couple times and release enough stuff out of them, maybe this is possible. But for now, we're going to mess with China some more, basically. So we have less than 2,500 required progress on steel frame buildings, which has allowed car outside. And so what we're going to do is we're going to swap back to postal service, which when it finishes will decrease the malice that we are getting from being ahead of time. So in the very following week, we will auto finish steel frame buildings, and then we are going to come in and take a look. We are not spreading realism here. So what we could do is we could get civilizing mission kind of immediately, or we can grab something like mutual funds while realism nat spreads, and in doing so get a kind of a little bit of more free stuff, because this will decrease the cost here, which is a little bit tempting because I think that we're going to be decking on some recognized people. Maybe we don't need civilizing mission quite this early. I think that we could put in a bunch of progress or initial progress on a whole bunch of other techs and just try and push ahead of time in that way. But it is quite nice that we're getting nat spreads on everything now. And so A little bit of a tough call. Maybe we just push for civilizing mission right away, though. That way we can make sure we nab the Panama Canal kind of early, and we minimize the infamy cost of various things. Also, pretty nice, we have demarginalized the trade unions. We've been bolstering them for quite a while now, and we are using them to pass some of the little trickier laws. We have been on per capita, which is generally not very good, but now we're making the swap to proportional taxation, which is going to be great. We can also abdicate for Victoria anytime we want. She's a cocaine addict, so maybe she's not the best, but this is going to be something we maybe use in order to pass some laws. We do have 3 agitators all agitating for National Guard. That's kind of obnoxious, but we're not going to pass National Guard. But we could use that abdicate at some point to force a law through, or to help deal with the radicalism. Radicalism is real high. In particular, it's high in these Chinese states, and so abdicating would make these way more usable, but we might just let them have a separatist movement and then get rid of the radicals that way. I don't know. Alright, so we spend a lot of time re-rolling for generals and admirals because we got this event, which this is actually a pretty strong event where we will know exactly when someone is dying, and currently we do not have a popular petite bourgeoisie general. We searched high and low for one, and was not able to find a single guy who was popular that had an ideology we like, and so we're just going to say goodbye to him, and just take the, heart of the cards, whatever comes in terms of the ideology of this guy. But what you can do is you can make it so that you have a popular general, and then they will be guaranteed. So we hope we don't roll some random stuff that's not very good, like a pacifist. Like that's an exact example of something that we did not want to roll. However, we can promote one of these guys to government if we would like, but maybe we'll just take the pacifist, because the pacifist with the reformer, maybe he breaks off and we get a little bit of a shakeup in terms of how things are oriented, but this also decreases our legitimacy. This is a little bit of a play pattern where we could have done a little bit more, but I was tired of rolling generals for like 10 minutes, so here we are. So we actually do have a unique PB, and these guys are really pissed, and we kind of don't like this malice. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to promote good old Charles Dickens to government, and he's actually exceptional. He is both cautious and literary. He's probably the best person we could possibly have as a ruler. There's maybe a world where we try and get him to be our monarch, because he's just absolutely insane, but more importantly, if we grant him leadership, he will stop agitating, which is kind of okay either way, and we will lose this malice, and so this is fine enough, and maybe we start cooking up a little bit of a plan to get Charles Dickens in the charge of, stuff. We're not getting any bonuses, but we do have a unique, PB that generates, I think that the normal one generates 10% bureaucracy and no authority, and we get authority here, and we get a little bit extra loan interest rate, which is quite exceptional if we're going to deficit spend, but we haven't hit a deficit in forever. Because we're getting bankrolls, because insanity, just pure madness. Alright, we now have a perfect opportunity to thumb a pie. We have a truce with Russia. We of course have a truce with Russia because we slapped them around last episode, and that truce is 18 months left. However, Russia's going for Ottomans. We want Ottomans to do a little bit better. We see, look at all these independence plays that are being kind of put in, and regime change in the Ottoman Empire. We don't care if that gets enforced, to be honest, but we also see a bunch of reduced autonomies for these subjects on the Ottomans, but the important thing is we can just sway in, we can go for some war goals, and we can ask for something that is pretty big. I think we're going to look to liberate, in particular, in the Caucasus, right? Or not the Caucasus, that's not the Caucasus, that's Central Asia, but liberate in Central Asia. There is one big boy in here, and that is Kazakhstan, and we will put in for our war goal, liberate there, and we will be mobilizing and slapping around Russia some, playing the great game, as they call it, the great game of this is really a fair fight and not just a curb stomp. So yeah, it's pretty great. Good old Charles Dickens, doing Charles Dickens things, recommends a guy who is going to agitate for something we really like, because he's Republican, he likes presidential parliamentary republic, so if he joins anything and we back down to him, we will become Republican, so this is really, really nice for us. We're probably going to just pass wage subsidies afterwards, in response to this Rev thing going on, but if this agitator, well, he's going to agitate for National Guard, but Yeah, I mean, National Guard, I guess. Also, this war has gotten really messy. We kind of flubbed it a little bit to some degree, I think, here. I think we just passed this with a pretty high chance. Industrialists will be a little bit mad, but this should be fine. Unfortunately, we can't just abdicate to this because the trade unions don't actually support any sort of republicanism, so nothing would pass. We really wish this guy would stop agitating for freaking National Guard. It's kind of obnoxious. We, like the Republican, we would much rather agitate for getting off of monarchy, but okay, whatever. We'll try and go on wage subsidies. Should be in fine enough shape. This will create a counter-revolutionary movement, but if we pass this, we will get rid of a good chunk of radicals. Radicals right now are decreasing anyways, which is kind of a nice... we have a landing coming in, but I think that Ottomans are probably going to throw in the towel a little bit premature. We do take back their capital, so they're not going to be ticking anymore, and we're gaining progress, so maybe we can still get things done. In the meantime, we are trying to land up here in the north versus Russia. I think that we try and do another little bit of a cheeky landing with these guys, with the China army, try and land in Rostov. That way we could try and push Russia and try and liberate this up here. In theory, we could also land back here, but I think it's a little late in the game for that. I think we just got to try and land Russia's capital to enforce on them. But they do have to pass, or they do have to kind of run anything past us, so maybe we can figure out a way to make it so that Ottomans won't peace out, because they could capitulate. I don't think they want to, and if they don't capitulate, then they have to run it past us because we have a war goal, so they can't just approve of a war peace deal that does not include capitulation or liberate Kazakhstan. Alright, things are getting a little bit nuts because a little while back we did get a bankroll in on France for a total... Oh, we lost a bankroll too though. But now we're on 4 bankrolls, right? France, Prussia, USA, and the very poor, unfortunate Netherlands, and poor is kind of the primary word here. But we see there is a play now with Austria for the Piedmont Uprising secession. We are probably going to be able to get a bankroll here, which would be bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S, because we would be able to get over 1 million in diplomatic pacts if this happens, which I don't think we've ever gotten that much income before from diplomatic pacts. No, we definitely have, but never this early in the game, never in like 1850, so we'll see. Sadly, bankroll's not an option for whatever reason here, which is a bit unfortunate, but what we are going to be doing is we're going to be asking for an obligation instead. What we want is a trade agreement, more than an obligation, but if we join the same side of the play as them, they will swap to genial anyways, and so we'll just do a little bit of a yo-yo to swap onto getting a bankroll, or sorry, getting an obligation, and then if we take a look at their attitude is cautious right now, it'll jump to genial, which is going to allow us to get a trade agreement. I guess we can't just get a trade agreement just straight up. How close are we? Okay, we got 21 in terms of what we have going on here. We're going to try and run a whole bunch of extra volume of trade with them. You know, are we importing this? We're exporting this to, right? To them. That's from their perspective, it's importing. Right? Okay, yeah, that's how it was going. We will try and do a huge volume of trade with them as much as we can to try and make it so that at least in the kind of immediate future, this volume of trade is going to allow us to get a trade agreement with them without burning the obligation, but we'll burn the obligation if we have to. This will be fine, and this ticking trade agreement will hopefully make it so that next time we can get them to bankroll us. We do get a little bit of a cheeky landing. We're pushing over here, and things are looking like maybe we get in. We do have this landing coming in over here. It's never going to work, but it is pulling 52 off with only 30 stacks, so this seems like a fair enough exchange. And once we enforce on these boyos over here, then we will be able to bring over the primary army to push the capital of Russia. This one stings a bit. It is unfortunate, but we didn't have any war goals in on us, so we could just get ticked out, and I didn't realize this. We maybe should have played a little bit differently because we focused on resolving the Egypt thing that was currently ongoing, or was ongoing at the time, because we wanted the canal and we thought we could wrap it up quickly, and that was probably just a bit of a mistake because the Egypt thing could have waited because Egypt had a war goal on us, but Russia did not have a war goal on us, so unfortunately dear sweet Ottomans are just almost certainly going to get enforced on here. And yeah, it's big sad. So Ottomans are going to get clapped a little bit, but it's not the biggest deal, because if they become, oh, they are a minor power. Jesus. The truth hurts. But I was going to say we could probably yo-yo sway them if they ever become a minor power, but I guess they are. And this also kills the fact that they have a power block. It kills their power block. Their power block is deleted now, and so we will hope that we can maybe pull them into our power block. They're a really good guy to have in your market. I think we're going to start funding lobbies as a result of this, which will help to get us... guarantee independence. Okay, yeah. So we're going to fund lobbies. Hopefully we can get them integrated with us at some point in time. We can request investment rights as well here, so I think we're going to do that. And then we're going to look to invest in their capital. Also, even when we're investing in capital, since we're on laissez-faire, stuff can get bought up. This is kind of an important thing to note. So all the rice farms, for example, we put out here, most of them got bought up by the investment pool of the British East India Company. They do not like building construction, but their investment pool has to be absolutely huge, and so if we build a lot in them, we will just get kind of refunded, and so this is maybe a good strategy. I'm not 100% sure one way or the other. We're also, we released these guys earlier. I really like the play of releasing Amazonia from Brazil, the play pattern, especially because they're unrecognized, so we're annexing all this for about 9 infamy, which in terms of resources is quite a lot. The rubber's starting to appear here, but logging 32, rubber 20, iron 78 with a 20% throughput modifier, 22 rubber, 9 logging, and then here I think these guys also have the logging bonus, but they have the iron bonus, 17 iron, a ton of rubber, and a ton of logging camps. So really resource dense. No, they don't have the iron bonus, but they have the iron bonus, one of the very few states in the game with this, and they have the Amazon's modifier, so we can eventually get pretty good states out of these once we develop them. So it's also going to give us adjacencies with a whole bunch of guys in terms of decreasing trade amount. So this seems like a pretty strong play overall. We are also getting to the point where we can start continuing to turn some of these construction sectors up to being max level, or sorry, all being on steel frame. Actually, we could probably just do it all at once. Let's just do those two, and let's just do 3 and then see how things go. We will have to add in, but now we're up to 1,300 construction, whopping 1,300. And we perhaps get a little bit of a look at why Austria has been a little bit sticky, is that there's the anti-British association, so this is perhaps why they've stayed cautious, and it has been difficult for us to get any sort of friendly thing going on with them. Wow, are they... Uh-oh. What are they even? They're a theocracy, not like this. But their theocratic side does not like the British at all. But we can get our trade agreement here. We're having run enough trade. And with that trade agreement, we are going to be in pretty good shape for maintaining really high relations with them, because we are going to get a ticking modifier that trends up towards... I said a ticking modifier that trends up towards plus 80, which is more than we could get from just improved relations, and so this is going to allow us to stay in their good graces. And so now I think we have trade agreements with just about everyone, kind of in terms of the GPs. Okay, we can't be broken, but we do have a trade agreement with them as well. Heavenly Kingdom will not accept a trade agreement, and so this is going to put us, or keep us in really good shape here as we're moving forward. Alright, I think we're going to conclude the episode here. This episode, we doubled construction, just about, which is absolutely insane considering we're only in 53 at this point in time. Look at our investment pool transfer just absolutely stanking up, cranking up. We are getting a lot of reinvestment, but our diplomatic pacts are kind of the really big story, which is that we have managed to maintain 4 bankrolls over an extended period of time, and also we really got a lot done in terms of, I think, the Diplo type of stuff. In fact, we might even be able to use our block power at this point in time on Portugal here, because they have to be in for 5 years, and we've had them in for quite some time now, and so let's use our subjugation. We will lose 60 cohesion, but they will become a protectorate, and so this is going to be quite nice for us. We will have no cohesion. Oh no, people might leave because we have no cohesion, but our target's going to trend back up to 51. The lack of the cohesion is going to hurt us in our ability to pull other people in, like Ukraine, or it's going to hurt where we're trending towards. But I think we'll come back up quick enough. We also have to keep an eye on some of the stuff's kind of been a little bit frustrating. I guess Kalat has the worst relations, but we've had Lanfang having the worst relations with us, which we had to improve relations with them because they were a subject of our subject, and now we're going to have to improve relations here with Kalat because they are pulling down our cohesion because they are big hostile because we just subjugated them. We are just about kind of finished getting full control, though, over India. The only one that remains is the Sikh Empire, who is not our subject, because Kalat's our subject, Makrad is our subject, or they're subject of Kalat. This rebel is going to eventually concede defeat, because they can't reach each other, so that's kind of awkward, but we just have to stay in the war for forever, so that will be fine. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do the YouTube algorithm thing. There's links down below for Discord as well as other stuff if you're interested. And other than that, have a good one.